Panasonic PV900D Diagnosis and Repair. I say diagnosis and repair. I've already diagnosed this. As you can see, I've already pulled this thing apart, blown it apart on my desk. But I discovered something interesting, a little bit of a tech tip, and I wanted to share it. So, the symptoms of this particular unit: vertical bars in the picture. And it actually just shut off here. Let me turn it back on again. As you can see, vertical bars, these bars right here, these jail bars are not supposed to be here. And if I wave my hand in front of the camera, the CCD does work, right? It does work. Like there's a Skyrim poster. And it has the same issue in the viewfinder, right? So, typically such a problem such as this would be a filtration issue. Some signal is getting somewhere it's not supposed to be. Usually that's caused by capacitors. This particular unit was manufactured June of 1994. 1990s is when the bad capacitors really hit the market, so not surprised. Tech tip for diagnosing such issues: if you believe you have a capacitor issue, as you can see, this thing's got a lot of electrolytic capacitors, also some tantalums, but you can see there's quite a lot of electrolytic capacitors on this thing. If you're trying to diagnose something kind of quick and you don't want to pull the thing apart, and perhaps you don't have the tool necessary to check these on the board properly, or you don't want to desolder each one and test it, what you can do is you could get a soldering iron, such as my TS100 here, and you could set this to a kind of a low temperature, not a temperature you would solder at, and you could very gently touch it just to warm up these capacitors, right? If you have an intermittent issue, that will reveal it most of the time. Another thing you can do, which is what I have used to diagnose this particular unit, is your good old electronics duster. You know, you use these to dust out your computer. Well, if you turn it upside down, now you have a capacitor diagnostic tool. Watch this. Okay? See these capacitors right here? I'm putting the straw right here. These two capacitors right here. I'm pretty sure it's this bottom one, but it's one of these two. Watch this. I have the can upside down, and I'm going to spray it at those two capacitors. Watch what happens. See? Frosty. Jail bars almost disappear. I'm going to give it a little bit more. Yep, boom. Jail bars are pretty gone. And they'll slowly come back as the capacitors warm up again. What this does is, if you have a capacitor that's out of spec, the value has drifted, or perhaps it's a little leaky, hitting it with the cold, you can see how frosty these are. Hitting it with the cold will very temporarily bring it back into value, bring it closer in value, because the cold will make the capacitor very, very temporarily work a little better. As you can see, those bars are starting to creep back. Now, if I put my finger on this, it'll creep back faster because the warmth from my fingers, you see, the bars are pretty much already back. Right? Here, I'll even try to do it in a way where you can see both. And there you go. Just a little tech tip I wanted to share with you guys. This is not my idea. This was an idea I got from another YouTuber, Shengo066, credit to him. If you have one of these camcorders and you are having this problem, which, to my knowledge, I have not seen anybody discuss this particular problem for these camcorders, it would appear these two, or one of these capacitors is... Turn it back on again. It times out. It turns itself off after a while. It would appear that one of these capacitors is the issue. So this is playback. And as you can see, those bars are still there. This was me a couple of days ago diagnosing this. You see, this is an actual recording. Like, I can pause this. I can say pause. Right? Play. Fast forward. I'm going to fast forward it. You see, the bars are actually in the recording. Oh, and there they go again. And there they come back. So this isn't a problem in just the viewfinder. This is an actual recording issue. And every time they disappear, that was me at that time spraying this cold stuff on those two capacitors right there. So here's a little follow-up clip for this Panasonic PV900D. This is after it's all put back together again. I have the AV cable all hooked up. And as you can see, one, it's many, many days later. And two, hey, look at that picture. Turns out I was correct. It was those two capacitors. So it's a lot better picture now. Yep. You can actually tell what you're looking at. So, anyways, there you go. Simple diagnosis and repair for a old 1994 Panasonic Omnimovie PV900. Also, some of you might be wondering about this strange little battery I've got going on here in this weird looking thing. I'm going to pop this out so you can see it. This is a little 3D print I came up with. You can find it on Thingiverse. All it uses is a standard 3S LiPo, right? And it just fits down on in there. And turn it on. And there you go. Works just fine. Wonder why that's out of focus. There we go. Come on, focus. See? Perfectly good.